The Cal Poly Rec Center is always a hub of activity, but never quite like the last 10 days.
So we had private sector engineers, architects, we had doctors on site. This is an all hands on deck effort right now.
An astounding coordinated effort of cooperation has created an additional medical care facility for COVID-19 patients in our county.
And everyone stepped up and is doing things in lightning speed, working 16-hour days to get this done. Literally from can you do this to having it ready to turn over in just about 2 weeks.
This alternate care site will treat COVID-19 patients too sick to stay home, but not in need of the acute care of one of our 4 area hospitals.
We're running oxygen conduit, we're running electrical wires, so we're going to be able to provide oxygen at this facility. We're going to have vital signs machines, pulse oximetry to check people's oxygen saturation.
What is usually a good place to get a workout will now be a place to potentially save lives.
We're configuring the ACS to accept patients in phases. Phase 1 will accommodate up to 165 patients, and our overall plan ultimately allows for 931 beds.
That's more than twice our 4 area hospitals combined, which allows those to be used for most critical cases. The county is working with Cal Poly, our legislative leaders, administrators and staff from both Tenet and Dignity Health, as well as private contractors like REACH, RRM Design Group, Trust Automation, McCall Plumbing and Mechanical, and Toma Electric, so that this facility meets our potential needs. That means copper piping to run oxygen from tanks to patients in their beds, additional electrical wiring for oxygen concentrators where the piping can't reach, and new plumbing so medical staff can have proper scrub areas.
Short of anything that the military is doing right now in New York and other places, I think this is probably one of the premier facilities that we'll see in the United States and certainly in California.
This monumental task called for unprecedented ingenuity and teamwork, and for everyone to step outside their comfort zones. The buy-in from the community has been huge.
From President Armstrong of Cal Poly leaning in immediately to say, hey, we're going to make this happen in the community and we're part of this community and we need to provide this support.
To the doctors, county planners, private architects and engineers, and every employee assembling every single part.
Kind of different doing this job in particular because we're actually making a difference in the community.
It's the kind of job no one here imagined being a part of, and it's one they all agree they'll feel even better about if it's never used.
Pretty impressive for a group of people who have never really worked directly together, and they certainly haven't done this type of project together. It's professionalism and humbleness and willingness and ability to help that's made this happen. I think it's pretty amazing.
The first phase of this alternate care site is patient ready. Crews are working to finish phase 2 in another gymnasium on the west side of the facility, and 3 more areas are mapped out for the following phases. If necessary, a 6th is designed for Mott Gym and is ready to be implemented.
This is what our community can do on the Central Coast if we all pull together and we have a will to take care of each other.
That spirit of community and a commitment to serve each other will be carried out here by the Medical Reserve Corps of San Luis Obispo County.
Thank you all for being willing to volunteer and dedicate your time to your community. We cannot thank you enough. All this infrastructure we've put together in this facility is quite impressive and has been a huge community effort. But with that being said, this would not be possible without your time and service.
The purpose of this orientation is to give you a chance to lay eyes on the facility, understand the scope of care we will be providing our patients, as well as understand how we will be keeping you all safe during your shift here.
Since some of you were not able to attend one of our physical tours of the alternate care site, this video is designed to be a virtual tour of what to expect. First, let's start with how to get to the site. The employee and volunteer parking area is located at the corner of Hathaway and Longview, which can be accessed via Grand Avenue or California Boulevard. Once you park, you will see your first point of check-in on your way to the ACS. You will receive a picture ID badge on your first visit inside the ACS. For the duration of your shifts, you will need to show that badge to the security officer on your way in. On your first visit, explain you are a volunteer and will be getting your badge that day. The employee entrance is just past the security point and down the stairs. Once you enter the building, you will be asked to scan your ID badge. You will also be asked a series of screening health questions about any cough, fever, or shortness of breath, or any other COVID-19 symptoms. You will also have your temperature taken. That will be the only time ACS staff will do so. Please continue to monitor your health symptoms throughout the day.
To check in with yourself and ask yourself, have any new symptoms developed since you entered this shift? If that does occur during your shift or at the beginning of your shift when you check in, safety will be notified right away.
There are 3 zones within the ACS. When you enter the building, you will be in the green support zone. No patients will be allowed in this zone. This is where all staff and volunteers enter and exit. It is where administrative staff will be, where the personal protective equipment warehouse is located, and where restrooms are located for you to use. Since you will have to go through the doffing process to use the restroom, you probably want to visit those in the entry area before you begin your shift. All patients are located in the red zone, and all patients will be COVID positive here.
Most of the patients we will receive at this facility will need observation level care and should be ambulatory with minimal assistance. We will accept patients between the ages of 18 and 65. However, we will not accept anybody with known pregnancies, uncontrolled psychiatric conditions, underlying pulmonary or cardiac conditions, comorbidities, or incarcerated individuals. We can accommodate up to 5 liters of nasal cannula oxygen on site. Any patients needing more will remain at the hospital. No BPAPs, CPAPs, or invasive ventilation of any type. We also have the ability to administer a few IV antibiotics and piggybacks as needed, as well as hydration for patients that need lactated ringers or saline.
The yellow zone is the transitional zone, and it is the only way you can enter from green to red or red to green, and it is where donning and doffing stations are located. We will be scheduling a donning and doffing orientation to show you the proper steps to do both in a safe manner to make sure you don't contaminate yourself before, during, or after your shift.
If you have any personal matters you need to address prior to the start of your shift, we're asking that you take the extra 5 to 10 minutes to do so outside the facility. Once you enter the facility, we will need you to be fully present and aware of your surroundings so you do not accidentally wander into a red zone without your proper PPE on.
When you leave the entry area, you will enter a hallway with a series of racquetball courts to your right. The first court is where you will pick up your scrubs for your shift. The next 2 courts have been changed into men's and women's changing rooms. Each has 2 sides clearly marked. Use the entry side when you enter at the beginning of your shift and change out of your street clothes into your scrubs. Use the exit side at the completion of your shift when you change back into your street clothes. There are bins inside the changing rooms in which you can store your personal items. This includes your clothes, watches, jewelry, and badges, which could be potentially contaminated if taken inside the red zone. You will pick up your PPE for your shift at the next racquetball court and will take that equipment to the donning tent. Please stop on your way to do a thorough hand washing.
Your medical gowns, your N95 respirator mask, your face shields, your gloves, and your booties as your shoe covers.
After you leave the donning tent, you will be entering the patient red zone. The facility is being opened in phases. Phase 1 is open and ready to accept patients. Phase 2 is being finished, and the entire facility has the capacity for 6 phases with a total of almost 1,000 beds.
We have portable concentrators that patients can use to ambulate in the red zone, as well as liquid oxygen hookups to select beds within the patient treatment area.
Patient charts will be placed at the end of the beds. There will not be a computer system for charts and no patient call buttons. So keep a close eye out for patients trying to flag you down for assistance. We are looking at a ratio of 1 nurse to about 10 patients with a medical assistant. We will also have a physician on duty at a ratio of 1 doctor to about 50 patients.
We have a few basic nursing documents that will be completed on every shift, such as an intake assessment or shift assessment for each patient, with checkboxes, a sign-off area, and a quick area for notes.
The male and female population will be separated by curtains, and as space provides, we will space patients out every other bed. The ACS is a no-visitor facility, so every patient will have a power hookup at their bed where they will be able to charge any personal electronics to keep in touch with loved ones. There will also be a landline for patients who don't have phones with them.
We have a wonderful janitorial team that will be coming in to wipe down the floors and take out the trash. But in order to minimize the amount of people we have working in the red zone, we will be relying on our medical staff to wipe down beds and change linens in between patients.
There are movable partitions and bedpans for patients who need it, but there are male and female locker rooms with restrooms for patients to use. Wheelchairs will be available for transport if necessary.
We have a limited pharmacy here in the red zone that will be dispensing medications such as Tylenol, ibuprofen, Imodium, Ativan, non-drip morphine for select patients, and bowel management medications. Patients with regular maintenance medications will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis during the intake process, as our pharmacy will not have the ability to dispense those types of medications.
Patient intake and release protocol will be very similar to what you would see at a hospital. Ambulances will deliver COVID-19 patients who are no longer in need of hospitalization and are being transferred to our care at the front entrance on Perimeter Road. We will be notified of their arrival ahead of time. They will go through a basic intake process and should be transported to their beds in a wheelchair, no matter whether they are able to walk or not. When patients are going to be released, they should also be escorted in a wheelchair to a patient pickup area on Campus Way. This facility will house COVID-19 patients who have been hospitalized and are not ready to return home, but no longer need the acute care of a hospital. We anticipate most stays here will be 2 to 3 days. The only time you should be taking your mask off is during a break and at the end of your shift. When you take a break, you will need to doff, and there will be bags and bins for storage of your PPE outside the doffing tent. There will be 3 break rooms upstairs.
In the abundance of caution, at the end of your shift, we're going to ask that you strip down either in your garage or your laundry room, immediately place those clothes into a sealed bag or your washing machine, wash them at the highest temperature setting possible with enough laundry detergent, and you yourself should immediately take a hot shower.
We are asking for 12-hour shifts, while realizing some of you may have other jobs and commitments you need to juggle, so we will be flexible.
We will be providing a map of the facility that has the evacuation routes, zones, and phases clearly outlined, as well as the locations of our fire extinguishers, AEDs, and fire pool stations.
We are scheduling shorter training shifts over the coming weeks to drill various scenarios. We will reach out to you to schedule a shift. Each will be 4 hours with options for morning and afternoon. These drills will help you be prepared for what to expect and how to best protect yourself on site. These just-in-time trainings are mandatory for anyone who will be providing direct patient care in the red zone. We are also putting together a comprehensive operating procedure booklet, and that SOP will have all our policies and procedures regarding your safety, patient safety, and how things will be operated here at the facility.
Under Title 19 of the California Code, the Emergency Services Act, all of our medical volunteers will be covered by the state's workers' compensation insurance, as well as the county's medical malpractice policy.
The construction and design of this facility has happened simultaneously, and that applies to the staffing here as well. If you see something you think needs to be addressed or have a suggestion for a more efficient or staff-friendly way of doing things, by all means, pass those on to your supervisor. The County of San Luis Obispo and all of us who live here, thank you for your service and commitment to the health and safety of our community and others you may end up serving.